Setting the next slide. Okay, so before we start, let me just introduce who SRKK Singapore is. We are a leading digital transformation consultancy firm in Singapore that specializes in modern workplace and cybersecurity solutions. We help organizations upgrade their workplace through a comprehensive range of IT solutions, including design, development of your intranet portals, tailored IT security solutions, and also provide workflow solutions to digitalize manual processes and many more. So over the years, we have established strategic partnerships with Nintex, Microsoft, HP, Dell, Fortinet, and many, many more. So SRKK Singapore is a Nintex premier partner with a proven track record of enhancing business processes for notable customers, such as the National Gallery of Singapore, Busy Bee Asias, and many, many more. So in this webinar, we have invited pioneers in the automation fields and automation experts, Ranjit and Eddie, from our partner Nintex, together with our own managing director from SRKK Singapore, Amin Talebi, who is an experienced modern workplace expert and worked together with Nintex, leading to numerous success stories. We're excited to have them share their observations and insight for all of us. Okay, so we are looking forward to getting to know you better, Amin, Ranjit, and Eddie. So Amin, starting off with you, can you share what is our approach from a traditional to a modern workplace?
Okay, thank you, Jonathan, for opening the speech. Good morning to all of you. My name is Amin. I'm Managing Director at SRKK Singapore office. And I got this opportunity to arrange this webinar with you guys to talk a little bit more about automation. I just want to share a little bit about my background. Back then, when I was 12 years old, I started to do the programming. In that time, I'm referring around 15 to 16 years ago. Automations basically is very minimum activities. It's more about the internet. Or we can say if anyone wants to do the automations, is back to the Excel forms, access formats, and those digital forms, very basic part of it. And then start to be growing and see the IT or internet can be helping the organization to improve the productivities and the planning to save the resource, save the time by digitalizing the processes there. So my topic today will be covering more about the traditional to modern workplace. So we want to focus and see all those paper form when it's converted to digital formats, how we're benefiting the organization, which is very valid nowadays, especially after COVID-19. Majority of our clients is finding out the automation is one of the key factor for them organization. So I got very short slide today for you guys. The majority will back to Nintex team to explain, but from my perspective, we got few key points here. One of the things that if you are the leader of your organization or if you are the person is managing your department and the IT head, the first thing comes to the point is the cost reductions. By identifying the process that is in your organizations, the people is spending a lot of time to fill up in the forms, gathering all those information across of the organization, you will reducing the cost. How you reduce the cost? So let's imagine if you want to fill up one claim form by now, and your approver is sitting in Singapore or sitting in Malaysia, a different level of approval person. So the person need to fill up the form in the paper format, and then after that, they need to scan the file and then send it to the approver, and approver is taking 2 or 3 days to get the job done. So that is become as one of the bottleneck for the company. So by digitalizing that process, you are helping to save the cost and save the time. The other topics that is related to the cost just now I'm referring to, when you're filling the form on the top of the paper format, you have the risk of the compliance. You are always facing the issues like the form is missing, or the data has been leaked out, or you might be having the issues that you have submitted to the approver or you have submitted to your manager and they overlooked on that task, and the staff or the company start to be facing a lot of challenge within the organization. So that is about the risk and compliance. And when I'm talking about the risk and compliance, data security is one of the most important part of our life nowadays. The PDPA is one of the important parts of. So when you do all the automation, basically you are keeping all those informations within your organization, and actually you protect those information in better way. Then the other angle that you see in the right side, we call it increase the productivity. So let's say instead of you are filling out the form every time for your processes, you can quickly done that process in the digital format. You don't need to go through a lot of process to getting the approval, or you have to sending so much email, you have to retrieve those paper format. You basically increase the productivity of your teams, and you are removing extra steps that is happening within your organization or within that process by digitalizing that process in your company. So on the next slide, what I'm going to be share with you guys is more about, Zeti, can you help me to go next slide? Is why your organization struggle to digital to transform. So the other angle that is come to the mind, they say all the vendors, all principals, most of the time is talking about, yeah, you just go ahead and digital your digital your processes, but you as a customer also is facing some lack of the visibility. Based on the research, the 75% of enterprise field process aren't well understood or up to date in their businesses. So basically, that is one of the challenges they are facing during the transform. So which the vendor, same as SRKK or same as principal like a Nintex, is able to help to address these concerns. Another issues that you might be having is a lack of the resources to implement that processes in your organization. Also is one of the challenges you will face. And also the other angle, we call it as a resource is not enough in your organization. You always have to hire the people to do those, implement the resource, implement the processes. So in that case, by digitalizing the process, you will be basically helping to improve your resources on your site by saving them time. And lack of the capabilities, 80% of the enterprise require ongoing process improvement with process automation change. So basically, once you have automated your processes, you are able to be improve it easily rather than when you have it on your paper format. So that is helping your organization to improve your processes in your organization. By digitalizing the processes in your organizations, basically you will see few key points has been improved, saving the time, saving the resources, increasing the ROI, and improve organizations capability basically by digitalizing that. So in our webinar today that we have one of the best product in market at the moment, which is Nintex, is helping our majority of the clients to manage these processes from the paper to digital forms. And most of the time I'm receiving the question from the client saying that, is it easy to use? Is it easy to manage it by converting our forms to digital form? I would say with Nintex products, basically you can do it in very shorter time period of the time, basically. And then from there you can pass it to the end user, and the end user is able to handle majority of the job by themselves. So in the next person, definitely from the Nintex side, they're able to share more about the product, and we are more than happy to have the session with you guys. to understand your process and helping you to improve your productivity in your organization. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Amin, for that great sharing session. So in our second segment, we'll have Ranjit, who is the solutions engineer at Nintex, and Eddie, who is the territory manager for Nintex, to dive into how Nintex automates for business success. I'll be handing it over to you, Ranjit.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you today. My name is Ranjit Ramachandran, and I'm the solutions engineer in the company called Nintex. Nintex is a global leader in process intelligence and process automation. We've been doing this for close to 2 decades now. My colleague Eddie will be giving you a good overview of who we are, what we have to offer, and so on in a while. So, in the interest of time, without further ado, I'll jump straight into today's topic of discussion: automation for business success. Right? With the very limited time that we have today, I'm going to focus more on the theory just to explain you how automation is helping our customers in their digital transformation journey. But having said that, we have quite a bunch of offerings when it comes to automation. In case if you would like to have a detailed demo, please feel free to get back to SRKK and we'll be more than happy to schedule a call with you. Now, uh, what do I have put in this particular slide, right? So for me, digital transformation is basically using technology to make the process better, right? We do hear a lot about cloud transformation. We do hear about people moving into cloud, but it's simply not acceptable these days to sidestep and move a process that is running incorrectly on premises to online and expect the process to work better, right? We're all familiar with the saying rubbish in, rubbish out. In fact, that is what I've put in my next slide. Based on a study that has been published, 30 to 50% of the RPA projects will fail. Right? So if you are in your RPA journey, best of luck, because based on the study done by a very leading research in the market says that there is 50% of chance that it will not make well to the completion. Now, what is more interesting for me is the reason for failure, right? If you look at the study, we will realize that the project did not fail due to the product, technology, or people. Failing were due to bad processes that didn't have a clear goal. It was a task-based approach rather than a people-first approach. They just picked the wrong processes, and there was no understanding of the interdependability of the processes. So what this tells me is that probably organizations were force fed by a product saying that, oh, this is there in a technology stack, you need to use this, or say this is the silver bullet, it can solve all your issues. And they were just forced to do automation on something which was not the right candidate process to undergo automation. And moving to the next slide, if we look at the objectives of the organization, like my colleague Amin just mentioned some time ago, they have not changed. In fact, organizations are under continuous pressure to reduce the operation cost, to drive the productivity, and to improve the operational efficiency and flexibility. In fact, they are under pressure to achieve all of these on daily, monthly, quarterly, or even yearly basis. And they're trying to do this by investing in digital transformation, by investing in technology, and by investing in the process improvement. So in the next slide, you will see that the effectiveness benchmark study, which was done by a leading consulting firm, you will see that the primary goal, yes, was digital transformation. But if you look at the other primary goals that were set out, they were people centric and not process centric. What do you mean by that? So like if you say 63% of them was to improve technology, but if you look at all other factors over here, it was to improve communication, improve collaboration, to upgrade skills, to improve the relationship, and to have a clarity in the roles, which says that technology, yes, is important, but where the CIOs are investing more is to come up with that kind of an environment which makes it much more easier for you to work in and do your day-to-day job. And that is what I've put up in the next slide. Here at Nintex, we have the secret recipe of success, right? How can you make sure that you will succeed in your digital transformation or automation journey? So if you look at it, we have five distinct areas where we kind of plan a digital transformation project. We may look at all of these as a single use case, or it may be in a different use case, but holistically, these are the five main factors that we would consider while doing any digital transformation project. If you could just give it a click, Jetty, what we've done is we have five aspects. For example, the vision, the skills, the incentive, resources, and the action plan. And only if we have all five in place, that's when you can expect a serious change. Maybe if you could go back to the confusion, sorry about that, but I would like to take one by one and talk in detail as to why each and every aspect of this is important. For example, let's say if you don't have a clear vision or the North Star or whatever you want to call it, right? Without a vision in place, it will create confusion for the rest of the organization. Why are we doing this? What is in it for me? Now that may quite well sound as a selfish question, but you think about the rest of the organization asking you, can you answer that? Can you answer them? Why are you undergoing this digital transformation project? It was going very well using paper forms. I was able to fill up the paper form in maybe 10 minutes and I was getting it approved. Why do you want to automate it? And how is it going to make different for me? Because I'm going to type in the form as well as I might fill in a digital form. So what is it different for me? It's very important to quantify and to explain that at any point of time you can go back and check your history. At any point of time you would be able to generate reports. In case if there is a query, you will be able to get to the answers quite easily. And that is why a clear vision as to why this is being done, or as we call it very commonly, change management. Why is this change done? How are we going to implement this change? How are we going to push it to our employees? That is very important. If you go to the next one, that is without skills, uh, if you could just give it a click there, without skills, there would be anxiety. Right now, think about a project that you were involved in digital or otherwise. Have you ever wondered like who is going to build it? Who are my subject matter experts and who is going to give me the details of how to implement this project? If you're unsure to those, you may feel anxious about the success of the project. It could be internal employees, it could be partners, it could be vendors, but without the right number of skills, it may create anxiety amongst the employees. The next is the incentives. Now, without incentives, trust me, you will see a different level of success and you will see a very gradual change. Incentives need not be always monetary. It's a very, very important point that I would like to emphasize over here. Incentive doesn't always mean that you need to dangle a bonus carrot in front of a person. Incentive can be career progression. Incentive can be it you would be able to do things much better. You will be able to join a center of excellence. There could be a lot more factors because of which you will see a lot more commitment by the team for the success of the project. Now, if you're missing resources, we will be creating frustration, right? Now, people will have to find workarounds. People will have to work overtime due to the extra effort because the right resources are not in place. Now, resources could be people, it could be right software, it could be most important resource that we all do not give a lot of focus on, which is time, right? You're not counting on the time that you may take for the process to be successful. People could just get over ambitious about the amount of time one may need to put into complete a project, but they don't have time in reserve. This results into non-availability of users for requirement gathering, for UAT, which just creates frustration and delays in the project. And think about it, time is the most important resource that we all need to factor in while we are undergoing a digital transformation project. Finally, what we really need to know is the action plan. And all it takes is to just jot down step by step that this is step number one, this is step number two. After we finish this is where we are going to go. This is the kind of ROI that we will get after this step. From there, we will go on to step number three, so on and so forth. So think about this five in totality, major factors for success, and how we can apply those by changing your approach to process management using operational excellence. If we can move on to the next slide, and maybe one more click there. What we really need to be clear of is the people, technology, and the process. They play a very important and equal parts of the operational excellence digital transformation pie, right? For example, let's take the people, right? How are we going to upskill people? How do they find time? And because they have their day-to-day job to do, we need to incentivize people to sacrifice some of their business as usual and to drive the digital transformation project. If you look at technology, we need to look at technology in the right lens so that we have the right technology to apply for the right use case. At Nintex, we have RPA as well as we have BPM, and very often I get this question from our customers: if we have RPA, do we need a BPM? If we have a BPM, do we need an RPA? The answer is yes, because the technology is meant for a different use case. There is no silver bullet available till date which can solve all our technology needs. What we really need to focus on, what is the process or what is the problem statement that we are trying to solve, what are the interdependability processes that will be associated with this, and what is the right tool that can solve these processes. Finally, it's the process. Now it's back to the rubbish in and rubbish out that we were talking about. If we don't select the right process, for example, let's say you've selected a process for automation and that process has got 30 more processes which are interdependent to it, and you've just automated this one single process, you may not yield a lot of ROI, you may not see a big change because there are still 29 other processes which are interdependent which will cause the delay. Or probably you've picked a process which just happens once in 6 months. You may not see a lot of difference because that was not the right candidate process to undergo automation. And that is why selecting the right process is also equally important. Now, if we could apply a new lens, and that is what we do at Nintex, and that is what we push our customers as well, that leadership has to be a part of the digital transformation journey. People in the organization see them setting up the right example. And when it comes to driving an operational excellence, leadership plays a very important role. There could be lunch and learn, there could be stand-up meets, there could be continuous marketing of the new digital transformation journey that you've done, or the new softwares or the new applications that you're bringing in. It continuously needs to be marketed to the departments that this will help you to do your day-to-day job better, and you should consider looking at it. Now, moving on to the next slide, while we were talking about the operational excellence, one of the buzzwords or the most common terms that you may come across, or probably you already have it in your organization, is the COE team. That's Center of Excellence. Now, COE are the highly skilled people from across the organization, from multiple line of businesses, and they are experts of processes, right? They are probably the people who understand the processes, and most importantly, they are there to maintain the compliances and governance that you have to adhere to. They are literally the sounding boards, and they are always available to give you feedback if you're going the right way. Now, if we look at the next slide, where what I've done is I've tried to put things together to help you decide on, what is the level of COE that you really need to go to. To be very honest, it depends on your business strategy. It depends on the time you have to invest, and it also depends on the business maturity, right? I've seen customers who would start with a very centralized, just taking the responsibility from the line of business, moving on slowly to a place where they are supporting the line of business, and then becoming completely matured where they are able to enable the line of business, right? In the last few minutes, I would like to leave you with a use case, one of our customers, Zoom. So if you could move on to the next slide, where they had used a Nintex product and they were able to gain a lot of ROI by using our products. We all know about Zoom, Zoom Boom, whatever you want to call it. Now, with the onset of pandemic, most of the workforces went to work from home model, and Zoom immediately faced the first world problem: too much business far too quickly. They weren't ready for the influx of customers at that speed, and they saw that the total active daily meetings soared by 30% in the first 4 months of the start of pandemic. A 354% increase of new customers compared to year prior, and a total new orders increased by 500%. They desperately needed digital transformation, and with the support of Nintex, they were able to take that influx of customers. Mere volume was the main cause that created a bottleneck, though they were digitally transformed, as in they did have systems. They had Zendesk, they had Salesforce, but the only problem that they were facing was they were not interconnected. They were working with the support of the emails. They were looking for something that could sit in the middle, that could take the information from Salesforce and probably go ahead and put in the information into Zendesk, so on and so forth. And as a result, what we've seen is they were able to support 500% increase in business. They were able to reduce the contract staff by 1/3, and they were able to compete with their competition in the market like Microsoft. Right. Before I end my session, I would like to leave you with an anecdote that I heard not long ago. So moving on to the next slide, this is around how to approach a digital transformation project. I'm sure all of us in the call, we all have undergone through a digital transformation project, and I really love this piece where it is called as a Boyd's law of iteration. So the story goes that John Boyd was a 1950 US military colonel and a military strategist, and he was researching why a F-86 airplane considered inferior to MiG-15 won 90% of the dogfights in combat. Right? So F-86 climbed and turned slower. It had the worst distance visibility. So how could it possibly win the fights 9 out of 10 times? John Boyd decided that winning dogfight is not about performing better. It's about performing faster, particularly in the areas of observing, orienting, planning, and executing. So planes that did that faster, not better, won the dogfights. Right? So it all boiled down to a flight stick, because in F-86 was using a hydraulic, whereas the MiG was using manual. So though the latter climbed and moved faster, but the energy to do the same was much higher, while the F-86 with a hydraulic stick had already performed the maneuver and positioned itself to the line of firing. So now if you take this kind of echoes well in the software engineering as well. Tool that can help you resolve your issues faster and not better is going to help you in your digital transformation journey. So let's say if you're going to look at a tool which does almost everything, it's got great connectivity, it's got this, it's got that, but probably by the time you go and build up the process and you give it to the departments for automation, the requirements have already changed. And that is the reason where products and tools like Nintex with no code development methodology is helping our customers to perform their digital transformation faster and give value to their customers as soon as possible. Before I hand over to Eddie to talk a bit about Nintex, maybe I'll just give you a very quick glimpse of what do I mean by automating a process faster. So if I can share my screen, let's say, for example, you need to build a form for your workflow. All you have to do is just come and select this particular option, and you are all set to build a form, right? I have seen customers who would want to collaborate with their external partners, vendors, external users who are not there in your Active Directory, and sometimes they it just takes months and months because you need to move the servers to an internet zone. You need to open up the ports. You need to get security clearance and so on. In Nintex, all you have to do is click on this button, and that's about it. Nintex is able to publish a form that can be used by your external users. Now, let's say for designing the form as well, all you have to do is just go into design a form. It brings you to the design canvas. And to build something, you just need to drag and drop, and that's about it. Right? By dragging and dropping, you're able to build a form. Or let's say if you already have an image that your designers have shared with you, or probably you have a manual form that you've been using for many years now, you can simply scan that form into a PDF. And once you upload the PDF, on click of a button, the entire form is converted to a digital form. Now, Nintex has got some sort of an AI technology built on top of it. So it's able to understand what is there in the form and then convert it accordingly into a digital form. For example, you can see gender is a text box here, but when gender was converted to a digital form, it came in as a drop down with the two obvious values in it. Let's say if we had something like a date put up in the label, it would have come in as a date control. Or let's say you don't want the entire form, you can simply select what is needed, and only that is converted into a digital form. And with click of this button, it brings you into the draft mode, and you are free to move around the controls and then configure them the way you need. Right? Let's say you need to put in some rules. You need to put in some kind of a rule that only if I fill in address 1, address 2 needs to appear. I just go into rules. I add a form rule. I'm just going to give it a name as this is the address rule. I'll say if address 1 is filled, then address 2 visible is equal to true, else address 2 visible is equal to false. And in no time, I've created a rule where an address 2 disappears. If I fill in address 1, address 2 appears. If I remove address 1, address 2 disappears. You can connect to external data. You can put in your own styles. In case if you, it's built as a solution where you don't have to write a single line of code. But let's say if you really need to customize, you need to put in your custom scripts. We have an option using which you can inject any modern framework language. So that includes React.js, Node.js, jQuery, JavaScript. You can pick a language of your choice, and you will be able to have the controls in the design canvas just like out of the box controls, and you'll be able to drag and drop and build your own form the way you need. Right? So that was a very quick glimpse of what you could do on Nintex forms. In the interest of time and with the very limited time that we have, I will pass it on to my colleague Eddie to take it further. In case if you want to know details, please feel free to get back to SRKK and we could always schedule a detailed call with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranjit. Zeddy, can you get back to the slide again? No, I think go back to, yeah, here, right. Right, good morning, everyone, and I hope you're all doing well. Right, so before proceeding with the presentation, I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. Right, so my name is Eddie, and I am the Territory Manager with Nintex. As part of my role, I'm responsible for overseeing the business development and cultivating the relationship with clients in the South Asia region. And this includes countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, India, Japan, and also the Philippines. All right. I'm very excited to be here today, to be frank, because to share about Nintex and how is our solutions can add value to your business. Right. Zeti, can you move to the next slide? Okay, I'd like to share a little bit of our Nintex company's profile. All right. Nintex is a digital process leader, offers a low-code and no-code process intelligence and automation platform that enables the businesses to ease the construction of a modern business application that connects people, systems, and processes to deliver results rapidly. And we want to transform the way that people work through process intelligence and also process automations, right? As of today, we are serving more than 10,000 customers across 90 over countries, and including 50% of our customers are actually from Fortune 500. Right? We have excellent customer satisfaction, At the same time, also, we are generating more than 250 million in ARR. We have more than 800 go-to-market business partners worldwide, and we are working very closely with SRKK in Asia, including Singapore and Malaysia, right? Of course, Nintex is a great place to work with more than 850 professionals worldwide, right? Debbie, can you move to the next slide? Click again and click one more time. Right, thanks. I'd like to provide further details regarding Nintex market position, right? Because I believe it is essential to comprehend the company's current standing within the industry. As of the year 2022, Nintex has achieved a remarkable market position, which has been substantiated by a comprehensive research report conducted by Everest Group and Zinnov. This report places Nintex in the leadership zone, highlighting the company's significant dominance and influence within the market. Right. Nintex has exhibited exceptional performance in two key areas, the process discovery and also the hyper-intelligent automations platform. In both these domains, right, Nintex has emerged as a front runner. We are actually surpassing other prominent players in the industry, right? So you can see over here that there are UiPath, Blue Prism, Microsoft, right? We are actually surpassing the key players in the industry. This recognition from reputable organizations signifies Nintex's unwavering dedication to innovation and also excellence. We are actually reinforcing our ability to deliver the superior solutions and services to the market. By leading the pack in process discovery, right, Nintex demonstrates an unparalleled capability to analyze and to understand the user's interactions within the various digital systems, enabling the businesses to identify the optimization opportunities and enhance the process efficiency. And of course, come back to the hyper-intelligent automations platform, Nintex sets new industry standards by leveraging the advanced technology to automate the complex tasks and of course to drive the intelligent decision making, right? The acknowledgement of Nintex's leadership in these critical areas, we are very confident in our stakeholder, assuring them that our commitments to pushing boundaries, to delivering the cutting edge solutions, and of course to remain at the forefront of the industry. Zeti, can you go to the next slide? All right, when it comes to the process management and automations, right? As you can see over here that we have actually two ways. One is actually the traditional, another one is actually the Nintex way. Nintex actually adopted a very different approach when it comes to the process management and automation, right? So we are setting ourselves apart from the traditional technique. The traditional method often prove to very cumbersome and I would say like inefficiency, right? It causing delays and also maybe some complications in essential processes. Let's take maybe new employee onboarding for as one example. So if without a proper process in place, including necessary preparations, responsible individuals, timelines, or maybe like a potential dependency, all this will actually create a delay, right? So typically organization, right, they will rely on manual processes to map out the flows or maybe to document them using the tools like Microsoft Visio, Excel, or some even using a PowerPoint, right? So this approach actually creates challenges when it comes to the collaboration with an individual from different departments, or sometimes I want to make a modification, also very difficult, right? So additionally, some company will use the individual, they will try to integrate the individual system with their own program. So they need to actually hire IT developers to create a manual code to connect them together, right? So which can be very costly and also very time consuming. And in contrast, when it comes to Nintex, right, we try to simplify the entire process with just a few mouse clicks and of course a drag and drop manner. Our platform offers a users-friendly experience. At the same time, also we can be providing a robust capabilities for IT developers. And with Nintex, you have the access to pre-configured connectors that allows the IT users, the IT developers, or the IT administrator to direct integration with numerous business applications. This will streamline approach they will actually eliminate the needs for a manual coding from an IT developer. At the same time, we try to actually to accelerate the implementation and we provide the efficiency. Zeti, next slide, please. All right, when you can see over here, there are actually so many business applications actually that we are using in our organization, I would say. Like we have actually our storages, our CRM, our line in business, right? And then of course our legacy system sometimes in our organization. So before we talk about automation, before we execute the automations, right? First thing first is actually we must actually to map the process, because by knowing where we are is actually very vital. From there, we can actually to improve the process efficiency, to optimize the business process, right? So once you map your process ready, the second part is actually we want to talk about is automations. So Nintex is the only platform in the market that we can automate the documents, we can automate the RPA, and also we can automate the workflows, all right? We can, like just now what Ranjit demonstrate, that we can actually to create the forms to allow the users to collect the data. So once the data is actually collected, you are set to automate the process through either the RPA or you actually through either the workflows. Of course, you can use the RPA to trigger the workflows, or you can use the workflows to trigger the RPA, right? So we have the step number one, map the process. Step number two is actually to automate the processes. When it comes to step number three, is actually we are talking about the integration, because we wanted to make sure that our system, our platform can be integrated with your business application, all right? Like just now what I mentioned, we have a pre-configured connectors that allows the business users to connect Nintex with your business application, right? Of course, if you ask me, Eddie, if I have a legacy system, if I have an in-house application, if I have an on-premise application, can I still connect with Nintex or not? The answer is always yes. As long as you have an open API, you are set to connect your business application, no matter it's an in-house, legacies, or on-premise application, you are set to connect with a Nintex. Right. Zeti, can you move to the next slide? Click 3 times. All right, thanks. So when you can see over here, Nintex platform is actually easy to use, powerful, and complete to manage, to automate, and to optimize your process. When I say it is simple, powerful, and comprehensive, right, I mean it because since all of these features, or I say solutions, is actually complement one another, all right? Like in the previous slide that I mentioned, before implementing the automations or optimizing the processes, right, it is very critical to first map out the current process to gain a clear understanding of its current status. So with the fast-paced changes occurring in the modern world, knowing where we are is actually very essential. With a clear understanding of the current process, our solution empower businesses to implement the intelligent automations that can be adapted and optimized as needed, right? Because in today's dynamic business environment, having the ability to adapt and innovate quickly is the key to staying competitive in the marketplace, right? At Nintex, we take pride in offering our clients a comprehensive platform that cover all aspects of automations, including the document automations, RPA, the workflow automations. Our modern approach allows the business to streamline their operations and improve the productivity across all areas of the organization. Let me share you a story that may be relevant to your current situation, right? Imagine your team spends hours manually processing the data entry tasks, right? Such as like maybe extracting information from invoices, purchase orders, or like maybe other documents, right? So these tedious and repetitive tasks can be very time consuming. And of course, it prompts to human error. And all this can actually leading to delays and inaccuracies in processing the critical information, right? So this is where our RPA capabilities come into the picture. With Nintex RPA, your organization can automate these data entry tasks. You're freeing up your team's time to focus on more strategic initiative. Of course, on the other hand, our document automation features like DocGen can be incredibly useful in generating customized documents for your clients, such as a contract, proposal, report, quotations, right? And with DocGen, you can eliminate the need for manual document creation. You can reduce error At the same time, you can improve the overall quality of your output. And together with our workflow automations capabilities, incorporating our RPA and DocGen, it can help your organizations to streamline the additional tasks, to improve the accuracy, to reduce the burden of your team. So you are allowing them to focus on more value-added activities. Right. And with Nintex platform, our customers, our business partner value our extensive by using our preview connectors. Right. Like just now what I mentioned in the previous slide, you can use our connectors, right, to quickly integrate your business application with a Nintex to build a powerful bi-directional connectors to orchestrate the processes across any system. Right. For those that who are using the in-house or legacy platform, you can use our extensions. It's actually the open API to connect your platform with Nintex as well. We have more than 100 connectors in our platform without any additional charge. All right. Zeti, can you go to the next slide? Yes, correct. So these are our use cases, our typical use cases that we share with our customers, right? So for HR, Nintex can be used for automating the HR processes such as employee onboarding, offboarding, leave requests. It can also be utilized to streamline the performance evaluations and benefit enrollment, right? So it helps to reduce the time and effort required to complete these tasks. When it comes to finance, Nintex can help automate the financial processes such as invoicing processing, purchase order approvals, and also expense the report management. So it helps to reduce the manual effort involved in these tasks. So the finance team can actually to focus on the higher value activities. When it comes to the operation, it's actually Nintex can streamline the operations by automating the processes such as inventory management, supply chain management, quality control, right? So by automating these processes, right, the organization can reduce the cost to improve the efficiencies and also to improve the qualities. For sales and marketing, Nintex can help the sales and marketing teams to automate lead generation, lead nurturing, and also the customers' retention activities. It also helps in managing the sales pipelines and also coordinating the marketing campaigns, right? Then when it comes to the IT, it's actually Nintex assists the IT department in automating the processes, such as ticket management, system monitoring, and software deployment, right? It helps the IT team to resolve issues more quickly, and then is leading to increase the uptime and also to improve the user's experience. When come to the last but not the least, of course, the customer service, Nintex can be used to automate the customer service process, such as case management, complaint resolutions, and also to receive the customer feedback, call it customer feedback management. So by streamlining these processes, right, Nintex, the organization can improve the customer satisfaction, to improve the retention. Of course, what we need the most is actually to improve the customer's experience, right? What I try to say here is actually Nintex automation solution can be applied across a range of business functions to streamline processes, to reduce the cost, and of course, the most important, to improve the overall efficiency. Zeti, can you move to the next? Right, thanks, Zeti. So these are our existing customers that we are serving across the world. All right, so Nintex platform is not only limited to one single industry. Our solution can be applied to across all industries. We have technology, we have a healthcare, we have a government, we have a services, we have a retail. All right, so can from a very small and SMB to a very large enterprise to a government sector. So our solution is actually can fit to all industry. Next, please, Zeti. Right, I think this is my last slide. That how Nintex can commit to our success. All right, I think the most important is actually like after we sell the license or after we provide the license to our customers, how the customer can be successful with our solution. First thing first is actually Nintex, we offer the solution gallery to our customers. This is a place that the customers can access to our gallery. Our solution engineer will constantly upload the template to our gallery. So this template can be used directly from our customers. You can import directly the template into your tenants without a need to create from scratch, right? Second is actually about training. So we provide the Nintex University to our business partners and also our customers. This place allow both our partners and also our customers to obtain our certificates to get the most latest knowledge of a Nintex solutions. So all this Nintex University access is actually free. The third is actually the support. Nintex provide direct support to our customers. This is what we call is actually the post-sale support, right? So whenever you have any issue, you can actually to log a support ticket directly with Nintex. Our team will help you to resolve all issues directly without fear of the SLA. When the last thing is actually the implementation services, we do provide the professional services to help our customers. But of course, right now in this case, we are actually collaborating with SRKK in both Malaysia and Singapore market. And then they will be helping our customers to provide, to deploy or to design the workflows to suit your requirements. Right. I think that's all from my side. I'll pass it back to Jonathan.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Amin, Ranjit, and Eddie for sharing such an insightful session.